Hi, I'm Barry from Power Equipment Discounters, and welcome to Browns Plains Mowers. Today we're going to be shooting a video in Browns Plains Mowers about the Ferris S6552. I'll be running down a few product features for you on this mower and hopefully giving you some useful information. If you're considering buying a new zero turn, then Ferris is a brand you should look at. Let's just talk about the brand quickly. So this is a Ferris. It's made in the USA. Ferris is owned by Briggs & Stratton, and they run a really big factory in America. They've got a really good brand following in America, and in Australia they're getting more and more popular. We see more and more people using Ferris as the years go on and as they get a brand following. Why is their brand so good? Well, it's a well-made brand. It's got good spare parts backup, and it's really good value for money, particularly those for larger acreage property owners and for your lawn mowing contractors. This is the S series of Ferris, which is their entry level. This is the S6552 we're going to talk about today. We'll start from the rear and work forwards. So starting at the rear of machine, it has a Briggs & Stratton 25 horsepower V-twin engine on it. That is a cast iron sleeve motor with a twin cylinder engine on it. It has more than enough power to run a 52-inch cutting deck. The things I like about the engine is its serviceability. It's got an easy to access oil drain hose that can be done without tools, just to unscrew it and drain the oil. Easy to access fuel filter, easy to access spin-on oil filter, and a really good filtration system, which is super important. So it's got the cyclonic filtration system on this motor. We'll give you a close-up. It's got a heavy-duty paper filter on it and a foam filter on the outside. It's got a very good seal, and this filter does really well in dusty conditions, which is what we have at the moment, and it's good for Australia. So it's got a really easy-to-access filter on the machine, which I like. Easy to service, easy to replace, easy to clean as well, and it is cleanable. You can vacuum out the paper and wash the foam filter as well. Okay, seat on the Ferris, high back seat, armrests, lift up armrests, so easy to get onto the machine. It's a comfortable seat. It does move forward as well, so you can access underneath the machine. It's got a battery underneath the machine, which is all you really need to access under the seat, and it's got the fuel tank as well. Springs on the seat as well, just give you a bit more comfort. The thing I probably don't like about the seat, and they could do better, would be the adjustment. It's actually adjusted via 4 half-inch bolts underneath the seat, so there's no quick adjustment on the seat to slide it backwards and forwards. It's the one thing that they probably should have added to this machine, but if you don't have users and you're not sliding it backwards and forwards all the time, different users, then it's fine, it's not a problem. And the great thing is it locks it in really solidly as well. Which is good. So sitting on the machine, if we do that, it's very easy to get in and out. It's got lots of leg room at the front, which is important for a zero turn. I like to have my legs extended and outstretched. Easy access sidebars, nice height. Those are adjustable as well. There's two different height settings. I always like it on the highest. It gives you the most amount of room, and there is lots of room for the operator on this machine. Reverse automatically returns to neutral if you let your hands go. That's a nice feature. It means if you do panic or you get into a bad situation, to stop the machine, just let go and it stops. Integrated parking brake, so you don't need to use your hand or your foot to put on a parking brake. Just flick the levers into the outer position. Parking brake goes on. Machine has got its parking brake. You can get off the machine with it running as well. Control panel on the right hand side, easy for us people that are right-handed. You've got a throttle control, electric PTO, so electric button to engage the blades, electric clutch underneath the engine. You've got an old school choke, which is something I really like. It's not an automatic choke motor. It's got the choke that you put on. I like that. It's easy to start, and if conditions are really hot, you don't need the choke. You can just turn it and away you go. So that's a nice feature I like. An hour meter as well with a maintenance minder. Every 50 hours is your service intervals on the machine. Easy to do. It's got tracking as well, on-the-go tracking, which you can adjust via 2 knobs over here. So you can adjust the tracking of a zero turn. What do I mean by tracking? With a zero turn, when you push the lever together forward, they both should be lined up and you should be driving in a straight line. That doesn't always happen. So if you're out in the field and you find that if you've got your levers all the way forward and you're driving to the left or right, you can turn these knobs to adjust the travel of that lever, and that'll put you on a straight path again. So it's nice to have tracking there. You can do on the go. You don't need tools to do it, which is kind of good because that happens quite a lot. foot assist deck height adjuster, so you're not using your hands to adjust your height, you're using your feet. Much better system. The only thing you do need to do is just remove the safety to return it to its cutting height position. So with Ferris, I typically would start the machine, engage the blades, have my height preset, and then lower it over there and then start mowing, because it's hard to adjust that lever. You can do it, you can adjust it with your hands over there, you can do it that way, but I like to have it all set up when I start. The great thing about foot assist is you can raise and lower the deck while you're mowing. So if you see a rock or something in front of you that you need to go over, you can just put your foot on the, put a bit of pressure on the deck lift, and it will lift that 52-inch cutting deck quite easily. And that's quite a heavy deck on this machine, but you can do that relatively easily. Lots of different height settings on the machine, so I've never had a complaint that the machine either cuts too high or too low, or doesn't cut low enough or high enough. There's always a height setting there for you, which is good, good to do. Moving off the seat, there's a floor pan over here, which I really like. It's just on a wing nut. You can remove it, and you can access the cutting deck underneath the machine, which means you can grease the spindles. There's 3 aluminium spindles on this deck. They're all heavy duty, and you can grease them easily and access the belts and do the cleaning as well, which is important to clean underneath your deck. But you can do that just by removing your foot pan, which is great. Other features of the Ferris, moving to the front of the machine, is suspension. Ferris is known for a suspension. It's what makes it different to any other zero turn out there, suspensions. Ferris has been making zero turns with suspension for 20 years now. It's their 20-year anniversary, and suspension is really good. Why is suspension good? Well, what suspension does is it allows us to mow with greater productivity. If you've ever used a rigid frame zero turn, you'll notice that when you're going over the ground really quickly, you're jumping around in the seat, and it's really hard to control the zero turn in a straight line. Now, brands have done a whole heap of things to get around that. They've put on suspension seats and done all sorts of things, but no one has actually put suspension on the mower, because Ferris did that and they patented the idea. So they own the suspension technology, which is really good and works very well. So on this machine, we've got 2 shock absorbers on the front to help the front, and we've got 2 big ones on the rear, okay? And they really, really are solid shocks, and they do take quite a hammering. So what that means is that if you're on the rough ground, it just rides over the bumps for you. So you can mow faster, mow more grass, and that's really what you want to be doing on a zero turn. The cutting deck is a 52-inch cutting deck, 3 blades. It's a fabricated cutting deck. It's heavy duty, it's reinforced. It's got a top reinforcing plate welded on top of it, and it's got reinforcing on the sides as well of the zero turn. So it's got heavy duty reinforcing on the cutting deck. The great thing about a Ferris deck is it's got the front lip cutaway, which is really good. Most American zero turns, in fact 90% of them, don't have that feature. Ferris has cut away the front lip of its cutting deck. It's still reinforced, but it's much higher up. That allows the grass to come straight onto the blades, which means you can cut the grass straight up rather than the grass folding underneath the lip of the front of the deck, springing up and the blades going over it. What we typically see if we're mowing in quickly is that if you don't have that front cutout, the grass folds over, it misses the blades, and it stands up behind you. And that's really not what you want to achieve when you're using a zero turn. You want to mow it once and once only, and Ferris is really good. It's got one of the best cuts on the market. The only other thing I really want to talk about is the zero turn drives. It's got 2 drives, obviously one for each rear wheel on this zero turn, and it has ZT2800. So without getting too technical, there's 2 types of drives. There's serviceable drives and non-serviceable. EZT and ZT2100 and 2200 drives are non-serviceable. So what that means is they don't have an oil filter, they don't have a filling point for the oil, and to service them you literally have to pull the gearboxes out of the machine, split them in 2, manually drain the oil, reseal them, put them back together and reinsert them. And that is an expensive servicing item. It costs $400 to $500 on each gearbox to service them, replace the oil, etc. With these gearboxes, they have an oil filter on them. They're a ZT2800, so they have an oil filter on them and an oil fill point. So you can drain the oil, refill it, and put a new oil filter on. That means you get much better life out of your drives, and it's much cheaper to service in the long run. A zero-turn drive is typically $1,200 to $1,500 for each gearbox. Obviously, there's 2 of them. So if you can service it, you're going to get better life out of them, and your long-term costs on running are going to be way lower. So if you can buy a zero-turn with a serviceable gearbox, I'd recommend it. This gearbox is ZT2800, and it has charge pumps. So it's got turbo pumps fitted to it. Makes this Ferris zero-turn super responsive and super quick. Does about 12.8 kilometers an hour. Most zero-turns sit at about 9 or 10 on the residential side. They only build up as the gearboxes get bigger. Just by the way, the ZT2800 puts out the same speed as the ZT3100 and 34. So it's a really quick gearbox for this zero turn over here. And that's the Ferris. One other thing, warranty. It's got a 4-year warranty on the machine that covers all your parts and labor. Lifetime warranty on the fabricated cutting deck. That's a really good feature. Not many zero turns have that. And yeah, and if you're a commercial user, you got 2 years or 500 hours, whichever comes first. So Ferris S6552, check it out. Great zero turn, really good value for money. It's $8,499 at the moment, but we'll always do a deal for you at Browns Plains Mowers or any of our stores. And you can also get it on 36-month zero deposit interest-free finance if you want. So what are you waiting for? Go out and check the new Ferris today. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching today. We hope you found this video informative. For more information on our products and more videos, visit us at powerequipmentdiscounters.com.au. Alternatively, you can visit us on Facebook, and please don't forget to click subscribe to see more videos. Thanks so much.